Most people believe that reality changes when you think better, desire more intensely, or work harder. But that's not what truly makes the difference. In this video, you will understand why so many techniques fail, even when they seem correct. Why intention, visualization, and affirmations don't work when the body is in the wrong state, and what reality is actually responding to all the time, even when you don't notice it. There is a specific factor that organizes or completely distorts your results. It's not in thought, nor isolated emotion, nor willpower. It's in the internal state from which all of this happens. Most people have at least heard about it, but almost no one knows how to apply it consistently in their own body. And until this happens, life responds with repetition, delay, or incomplete versions of what you seek. Throughout this video, you will understand exactly what this adjustment is, why it changes everything, and how it reorganizes the way reality responds to you. Most people spend their lives trying to change reality without realizing they are always interacting with it from the same internal point. The scene changes, desires change, attempts change, but the place from which all of this originates remains the same. And as long as that point doesn't shift, results only repeat with superficial variations. You may recognize this. You read books, listen to audios, practiced visualizations, repeated affirmations, tried to convince your mind that everything would work out. And yet, something felt stuck, as if reality was always a few steps behind your effort. Or worse, as if it responded in a distorted way, delivering incomplete versions of what you were seeking. This doesn't mean you failed. It means you were taught to operate reality through a secondary channel. For a long time, people believed conscious creation depended on the power of thought. Today, science knows that thought is only the most superficial layer of a much deeper system. Reality doesn't primarily respond to what you think. It responds to the state from which you think. This is the point that changes everything. Your body is not just matter occupying space. It's a bioelectrical system constantly emitting information. Every heartbeat, every breathing pattern, every emotional state generates a measurable field that extends beyond the skin. This field carries data about safety, threat, openness, contraction, readiness. Modern physics calls this an electromagnetic field. Neuroscience observes its direct effects on the nervous system, and when these fields enter coherence, when heart, brain, and body operate in harmony, something remarkable happens. The information emitted becomes clear, and systems respond to clarity. What many call high vibration is not euphoria, artificial enthusiasm, or forced positivity. It is coherence, a functional state in which the body stops sending contradictory signals to the environment. When this happens, the interaction with reality changes in speed. Here arises the central principle of this video: quantum synchronization. Synchronizing is not controlling. It's not imposing your will. It is aligning your own system with the type of reality you are trying to access. While you try to change the world while keeping the body in a defensive state, the field receives a clear message: it's not safe. And the field responds consistently to that information. You may desire abundance, but if your nervous system operates in scarcity, that is what will be reinforced. You may seek love, but if your body remains in protection, that will be mirrored. Not by punishment, but by informational fidelity. Most people transmit mixed signals. The mind asks for one thing, the body communicates another. This internal conflict creates interference. In physics, waves out of phase cancel each other. In life, this manifests as stagnation. When the system enters coherence, interference ceases. Neurobiology explains this precisely. Chronic stress activates the amygdala, keeping the organism on alert. In this mode, the body prioritizes survival, not creation. No matter what you visualize, the dominant signal will be protection. On the other hand, when the body enters cardiac coherence, the axis shifts. The vagus nerve is activated, breathing deepens, internal chemistry reorganizes. The brain accesses more integrated states. The emitted field becomes stable. Stability is magnetic. That's why some people seem to manifest with less effort. Not because they think better, but because they interfere less. They don't live in constant emotional peaks. They train the return to coherence. They go off axis, notice quickly, and return. This constant return creates a new baseline pattern, and sustained patterns become identity. When your coherence stabilizes, something interesting happens. The field around you responds. People react differently. Situations organize with less friction. If what I'm saying makes sense to you, and you feel ready to deepen this experience, I've left a more complete material in the pinned comment. You don't need to look at it now. Just remember it when the time feels right. The biggest mistake is thinking the signs come from the outside. If this video made sense to you, it's not a coincidence. Subscribe now, because the next messages arrive exactly when you need to hear them. Not because you control the world, but because your internal signal has become clear. At this point, it is essential to abandon a common misconception. Coherence is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to move through it without collapse. Emotions continue to arise, but they do not hijack the entire system. They pass like waves, not permanent currents. This internal space creates real freedom. Modern science, especially neuroscience and quantum physics, points in the same direction. What changes is not the world. It is the internal state from which you access it. What we call high vibration is not a fleeting feeling or an artificial emotional state. It is a real condition of coherence, a precise alignment between mind, body, emotions, and the nervous system that can be observed, trained, and sustained. When this alignment occurs, perception changes. The same external stimulus ceases to be a threat and becomes information. The body does not collapse. It processes and moves forward. This efficient processing reduces internal wear and frees energy for creation, focus, and presence. This is where many techniques fail. They ask you to sustain mental images while the body remains in conflict. This creates tension, not alignment. The quantum synchronization method reverses this logic. First, organize the body. Then, reality responds. You don't visualize to change the world. You regulate yourself so the world can meet you from a different point. This state does not require isolation, spiritual enlightenment, or a life removed from reality. It can be accessed now, as long as you understand how to perceive it and stop sabotaging it. And here is the fatal mistake almost no one notices: trying to maintain coherence by force, over-monitoring emotions, suppressing uncomfortable states. This creates rigidity. True coherence is flexible. It adjusts without breaking. Real practice is not about always staying well. It's about returning quickly. That's why the practice is not mental, it's somatic. Breathing, sensation, rhythm. When you learn to feel the body before narrating the experience, something reorganizes. Thought slows, perception expands, the field stabilizes. In this state, you don't ask, you signal, and the field responds not to the request, but to the signal. Perhaps now something that seemed abstract before makes sense. Vibration is not mood. It is the invisible language with which your body communicates with the quantum field. This is not philosophy. It is physics. And when you understand this, you stop trying to convince the universe. You begin to cooperate with it. In the end, it all comes down to this: reality is not waiting for your effort. It is responding to your coherence. When you begin to operate from this understanding, something subtle happens. Urgency disappears. The need to prove, force, or accelerate gives way to a quieter, steadier internal state. And this silence is not empty. It is full of organized information. Most people confuse speed with rush. But from a quantum perspective, Rushing is a sign of internal disorganization. A coherent system does not run. It moves with precision. It waits for the right moment, not out of passivity, but because it recognizes when action emerges from alignment, not anxiety. This is a delicate point because it requires internal honesty. It requires noticing how many times you called something intuition when it was actually fear disguised as movement. How many decisions were made not from clarity, but to relieve internal tension. The body wanted to leave discomfort, not enter coherence. Quantum synchronization asks for the opposite. It asks you to stay, to sustain the sensation without rushing to resolve it, to allow the system to reorganize before acting. This interval is where old programming begins to dissolve. Carl Jung said that no one illuminates by imagining figures of light, but by becoming conscious of their own shadow. And here this gains practical, not symbolic, significance. The shadow is not a moral concept. It is everything the body learned to contract for survival. Old tensions, automatic responses, patterns once necessary, but now only distort the signal. The pain that arises when you begin entering coherence is not a sign of error. It is a sign of integration. The system is releasing old interference, and this is rarely comfortable. The fatal mistake is trying to escape this phase, thinking something went wrong. Passing through this pain does not require force. It requires presence. It requires allowing the body to feel without fully identifying with the sensation. When you don't amplify the pain with a story, it fulfills its function and passes. When you fight it, it becomes fixed. That's why few people sustain this process to the end. They want the effects of coherence without going through the reorganization that precedes it. They want peace without feeling what needs to be felt. They want alignment without dismantling old patterns. But the field does not negotiate with self-deception. When you remain, something changes. The body learns it can feel without collapsing. The nervous system records safety even in intense states. This creates a new internal reference. From there, coherence ceases to be an effort and begins to be a natural return. This constant return creates identity, and identity is one of the most powerful factors in manifestation. The field responds not only to what you do, but to who you consistently are. It is at this point that many people begin noticing external changes without conscious effort. Invitations appear, conversations open, synchronicities increase, not as spectacle, but as flow. Life begins to cooperate because it finds no internal resistance. And here it is important to say clearly, this does not make life perfect. It makes life functional. Challenges continue to exist, but they do not disorganize the entire system. They are faced with more precision and less wear. High vibration is not an emotional peak. It is a functional state, sustainable, embodied. You don't maintain this state by thinking about it. You cultivate it by respecting the signals of the body, noticing unnecessary tension, returning to the breath, releasing micro-contractions that would have gone unnoticed. This is the real practice. Over time, something interesting happens. You begin to trust the body more than the mind. Not because the mind is useless, but because it occupies the right place. It becomes a tool, not a commander. In this state, decisions arise with less internal conflict, not because you have all the answers, but because you feel when something is aligned or not. The sensation precedes explanation, and almost always, it is right. Here is where the idea of manifesting changes completely. You no longer try to attract specific things. You organize the system so that what arrives is compatible with it. The focus shifts from the outcome to coherence. This is the paradox. The less you try to control the outcome, the faster it organizes. Because excessive control signals internal insecurity, and insecurity distorts the signal. The quantum field responds better to clarity than to intensity. Perhaps it is now clearer why so many previous attempts seem to fail. They didn't fail. They revealed where there was interference. They revealed where the body did not yet feel safe to receive what the mind desired. Nothing was wasted. Every delay was fine-tuning. Every frustration was an invitation to descend from the mental level to the somatic level. Every almost feeling was a sign that coherence was approaching, but not yet sustained. Now, understanding this, you no longer need to fight the past. You can integrate it. You can see that everything was part of recalibration. And if you have stayed with this video, if you have remained attentive, something in you is already different. Perhaps not dramatically, but enough to notice that it is no longer about seeking something outside. It is about sustaining something within. At the closure of this process, the question is not, what do I want to manifest? The real question is, where am I living from? Because reality always responds to this place. And when you choose to live from coherence, the field has no choice but to follow. Now, the point I mentioned at the beginning becomes clear. What made the difference throughout this video was not learning something new to do, but realizing where you had been operating all along. It was not a lack of effort. It was not a lack of knowledge. It was a lack of coherence. Reality was not ignoring your requests. It was faithfully reflecting the state your body was holding while you asked. Every attempt, every effort, every visualization or affirmation didn't work because there was no alignment between body, mind, and nervous system. When the system enters coherence, the signal organizes. And when the signal is clear, the response ceases to be effort and becomes natural, automatic, and reliable consequence. This is why this understanding changes everything. Because it does not depend on motivation, belief, or constant positivity. It depends only on your ability to notice when you go off axis and return before interference becomes standard. You do not need to control the world. You do not need to accelerate processes. You do not need to force emotional states or pretend to be okay when you are not. You only need to sustain an internal state functional enough for reality to respond without noise. Every moment you notice misalignment and return to coherence is a profound reinforcement of the signal your body sends to the field. And the more consistent you become in this return, the more natural and stable the flow of life around you becomes. If something in you reorganized while hearing this, even subtly, then the point has already been touched, and a real change has already begun. Silent and almost imperceptible. From here on, it's no longer about seeking more. It's about interfering less, allowing every sensation, every emotion, every breath, and every heartbeat to organize in harmony with the whole you already are. The less you try to control the outcome, the more the system finds its own balance, and the more the world responds with precision. Because when the state changes, the response changes along with it. Life ceases to be something you push and becomes something you experience, flow with, and participate in with presence. And reality, as always, simply follows. It does not judge, pressure, or punish. It faithfully reflects the internal state you sustain. So at the end of this video, the question is not, what do I want to manifest? The real question is, where am I living now? What is the starting point my body and mind are maintaining? Every time you sustain coherence, even imperfect, even under construction, you train the field around you to respond without interference, to reflect clarity instead of confusion, confidence instead of effort. This is what transforms perception, reorganizes experience, and creates results that once seemed impossible. This is the true power that has always been available. Not in techniques, not in images or words, but in the consistency of the internal state you choose to cultivate, perceive, and return to. And so, you realize you do not need to rush. You do not need to fight. You do not need to force yourself. You only need to learn to remain, to feel, to return, and to trust the process of your own body and system. Every step you take in this constant return is a silent construction of coherence, and it is this coherence that transforms life around you from the inside out. When the signal is clear, the response becomes inevitable, and reality, as always, simply follows. Reflecting back what you have already stabilized within yourself. If what you're feeling now made sense, this sense of internal reorganization, of something shifting beneath the surface, understand this. This is not where the process starts. It's where it becomes visible. Before this phase, there is a quieter stage most people overlook. The subtle signs, the fluctuations, the days when everything feels off for no clear reason. In the previous video, I explained exactly how these states form, why some days everything flows and others collapse, and how coherence begins in the body long before conscious change. It's on your screen now. Watch it next, not out of curiosity, but because it explains what prepared you to be here, if this message truly resonated with you. If you felt that quiet inner shift, that sense that your mind is ready for something greater, I left a resource in the pinned comment that goes deeper into this process. I only recommend it for those who feel genuinely ready to accelerate their results, but follow it in your own time. If it calls to you, you'll find it there.